Hello everyone. Um, Thought I'll show you how to do broomstick propagation. There are many ways of doing it, so this is only one of the way of doing it. Um, so this is a very nice chimera. Uh, there's a lot of good discussion about when you should harvest the broomstick for propagation. Most people agree that you've got to wait till all the blooms has opened, and the only reason for that is to allow these leaflets to grow as large as possible. All right? Broomstock that has very tiny leaflets are really hard to propagate, and broomstock that is very thin are also very hard to propagate. So this one is a reasonable size. Okay. So, and there are many parts to the broomstock we can use. You don't have to just use this part of the broomstock. Okay. So before I start, I'll show you the things that I need. First, obviously, your pot and label, and I'll show you all the wicking, potting mix, perlite. It doesn't have to be this big as long as you got some. Speckman moss. I actually blended it. So the reason I blend it is because when the plantlet grows roots on it, it's really hard to remove the raw speckman moss, and you have danger of damaging the roots. So this way, when it's blended, it's very easy to get it out, or most of it out anyway. And I soak them in water, and they turn into that. Okay. And the magic solution, nitrozyme, is really good for rooting. It's quite expensive, unfortunately. You use about 2 ml per liter of water. So this is the nitrozyme solution. Okay, so let's start doing some planting. Oh, a very sharp, clean blade. Okay, so make sure you have that. Otherwise, you're just squashing the stem. Alright, let's get the pots ready. So I'm just going to wick it through. And I'm just going to put this here. And I'm just going to top, because the pot is quite big, so if I just top it all with potting mix, it's going to be too moist, and the broomstock is likely going to rot. So you feel about halfway with it. You see, I'm still holding the wick, and then I top almost to the top. Alright, let the wick go. A little bit more. Alright, then I'm going to water it with the nitrozyme solution. Alright, just moisten it. Okay, so I'm just going to leave it there. Okay, so that's first part, and then this part that's messy. So you take this out, squeeze it, some of the water out, not too much. Alright, and then you just crumb it down. So the idea is to get a thin layer of moistened speckman moss on top. I think that's about enough. And you just use a skewer or whatever you have. Just spread it out a bit. So that's the potting mix ready. So let's take this away. Okay, the next part is preparing the bloom stalk. You need as I say, you need a very sharp, clean blade. So what you do is just cut that off. So if your blade is very sharp, it does that. Okay. So make sure you don't cut the leaflets. Okay. Right. That's how it looks like. Okay. Let's zoom in a little bit more. Okay. So don't throw this away. I'll show you why. Because you can use them. So how far? Obviously, you don't use this whole stem. I cut to about an angle to about 1 centimeter and a bit. Okay. So this is the bits that I use. All right. I prepared a few before, and this is a nitrozyme solution. Just drop it in there. All right. Make sure it's soaked in the water, and let's get soaked in there for about a couple of hours before I plant it. So prepare this first before you prepare your potting mix. Okay. Now I say you can actually plant this as well. Okay. But what you have to do is, hopefully this will work, is slowly take the petal off. Okay. Okay. So make sure you remove all of them. And remove this bit as well. So you might need the blade. Okay. You need to remove those, otherwise when you put into a covered container with high humidity, you grow fungus if you don't remove this. And the same way, you cut an angle and you drop in the solution. So this is what I prepared before. Okay. And the second last part is to plant it. Let's see whether I can move this away. Let's just to the center. Light, so you can see clearly. Alright, you need a satay skewer for this. Okay, so what I do is I pull the slide actually. I take one of the bloom stalk, hold it. We are trying not to just hold it like that. Try not to put pressure on the bracelet. Put a hole, just sort of roll it down, it's easier. It's not as easy as sounds. So just slowly pressure in. The idea is to get it so that the leaflet is just underneath the speckman moss. Okay, I'll show you another one. Okay, punch a hole, push it through, and slowly press it in. Okay. Sometimes you can press it in too hard because there's a big perlite stopping it. In that case, use the starter skewer to do another hole. Don't try to force it. You bend it and damage the point. Now the bloom pentacle part are slightly more difficult because they're more fragile. So you hold it like that. And again, put the screw through. And you're going to use the skewer to help it hold that. Okay. Now the bloom pentacle, you don't have to do it all the way down because the growth is coming from the underneath. It's not coming from the top. Alright? Unlike that, the growth will be coming from the side and all that. Okay? So the last part is to put it into a container. Like this. Okay. So this container already has a few in there. Let's put it in a container and cover it up. Alright. That's what you have in there. So it's very easy. Now this step is as important as all that preparation. You need to make sure that it's warm, especially at night, otherwise it's tendency to rot. Okay, so keep it warm and keep it under bright light, and hopefully you get some plantlet. The earliest is about 6 weeks. Most of the time you wait till about 2 months at least before you get some plantlets out. Okay, I keep in this box for at least 4 to 6 weeks before I take them out and put them in my wicking reservoir. Okay, alright, hopefully that's helpful to you. Thank you.